Audio, it's time for another Jeep Talk Show flagship episode. And I'm just looking here to make sure I did press the record button. You know, we've gotten 15 minutes into a show before I realized we weren't recording. And then I just have to have this long pause and go, guys, and it's usually when I've had 2 or 3 people on as hosts on, guys, I'm sorry, I wasn't recording. And then, you get all the hateful stares and what's going on. And I'll say, yeah, good practice though. Not so this time. So on tonight's episode, you remember JD Powers, right? You remember JD Powers and all their reviews and awards and all that stuff? Well, the Jeep Gladiator is on their list. And I think it's a good list. I don't think JD Powers does bad lists. I guess they could. The same company that built 4 million Jeep XJs, that's a Cherokee, but you can't just say Cherokee anymore because it could be that new piece of crap that they have. But the Jeep XJs is boasting 250,000 of these Jeeps. Hang in there and find out what Jeeps we're talking about.
So, hi guys, it's Greg, Platinum Drivetrain Works, here with Tony. It seems to me like the JD Power thing sticks in my head the most from a lot of those older car commercials, the truck commercials, where our trucks ranked, this level JD Power for comfort and quality and style. And it's like, I think it was a pair of like old school machinist calipers, the trophy that they actually give you.
Yeah, I remember that.
Had the little kind of gold or brass base, and they had those golden, I think they were calipers or something, some kind of machinist.
It's a measuring thing. Something. Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought, before these commercials, when I was that age and I started paying attention to it, it's like I had never heard of it before, and I haven't heard of it since. It's like, are they like Consumer Reports, or what? How does that work? Like, is it like getting a Michelin star for your restaurant? You have to call the JD Power up and be like, "Hey, come by the plant. We want to show you our new truck or our new Jeep." Like somebody getting paid for those reviews. I don't know.
When I read this thing, the story we're getting ready to talk about here in a bit. I thought to myself, Gladiator hasn't been doing very well in sales. And I find it strange that there's a story about the Gladiator and it's won a JD Powers award. And I'm not saying JD Powers gets paid to play, but I'm wondering if they get paid to play.
It's definitely a lingering question.
Now, don't get me wrong. I love my Gladiator. I think it's a wonderful vehicle, but sales aren't doing well. And there's a lot of pushback from people about the Gladiator. I mean, some people don't even consider it a Jeep because it's not a Wrangler, and I don't agree with that at all. I love the Gladiator. And, I've never had a traditional Wrangler Jeep. I mean, we got one. My wife has a TJ, which I personally think is better than the JK or the JL.
I mean, that's your traditional Wrangler.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess the CJ could be argued as more traditional, and even the YJ, but I think the TJ was a better vehicle than the CJ and the YJ. And then I think it's, and I think it's still better. From a mechanical
aspect and design, yes.
It's the thickness of the metal and all that stuff. The JK got thin. The JL certainly is thin metal. They're great vehicles. I just think the TJ is a more true Jeep Wrangler.
I would agree wholeheartedly on that one.
Yeah, I just they're just nice vehicles, but it has to be a standard. Don't get one of those craptastic automatics that came in those TJs. Those things are horrible. All right, so we're going to talk about the Gladiator Dark Sky Edition. Do you remember the Falling Skies? Falling Skies series. Yes. When I read this, I thought, Fallen Skies, there's aliens and Earth takeover. No, this is Dark Sky Edition.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like the intro to an alien movie or something. Yeah.
So this was introduced on May 21st, 2025 this year. This model adds value and capability to the open-air pickup, earning high marks in the JD Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study. So the Jeep Gladiator earned top spots in the midsize pickup segment, JD Power's study that we just mentioned. Initial quality study announced on June 26, 2025. This award measures new vehicle quality based on owner-reported problems during the first 90 days. Read that again. Owner-reported problems during the first 90 days. You got a brand new Jeep.
Not reporting it.
You got a brand new Jeep. Are you going to have a problem within the first 90 days, do you think?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could. I think there was a fair amount. I know that for a fact when they first brought out the JLs and the JTs, they had, just like with the JKs, they had a while where they were sorting stuff out. Bugs for this, bugs for that. I like how it's the ones that are owner reported. So what happens if they don't report it, like to the dealership? How many of those slip through the cracks where they were just fixed and not done as a dealer warranty thing
Well,
or
for the award,
modified?
I don't think it has to make sense. I think it's just an account. If the
Okay.
count is 0, then the count is 0. Or maybe
Well,
some
I
people
mean,
got
if
hung up
4
on
out
it.
of the 5 guys in the room tell you that you're handsome, I mean, you're not going to stop and ask the 5th guy what he thinks.
Oh, I draw the line when men start
Careful how
telling me
you
I'm
answer
pretty.
that. Wait a minute, Greg.
Especially in the Bucky's bathroom. I get the hell out of there
It's a
really quick.
trap.
I zip up when I'm getting coffee. So,
Gotta go.
so the first 90 days of ownership, the Gladiator excelled in 7 out of the 10 problem categories, including driving experience, infotainment, again, not a real word, and exterior, outperforming competitors in its class. I wonder if that would be like the Maverick? The Ford Maverick is a little truck.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what would be the class for that.
There's not a lot of
are
mid-sized
they
trucks
calling
out
it?
there.
Yeah, are they calling it a pickup or are they calling it a crossover sport utility? Like, what class would that technically be? I guess pickup, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I
Light
think
pickup?
I think it's a small truck. Is what a mid-sized pickup. Anyway, Jeep's highlighting the Gladiator's reliability and appeal among mid-size. Well, it says right here, mid-size pickup buyers. For more details, you can visit xjtalk.com. So actually, you can go over there and read that. I didn't read it, but you can go over there and read it. Greg, anybody else that's viewing this video here on YouTube or Rumble, go over there and in the comments, let us know what you find out. But mid-size pickup, I think that's what you could call the Gladiator. All right, so here's one for you. Production milestone. The Jeep Wrangler 4xe reached a production milestone with 250,000 units rolling off the Toledo Assembly Complex line, complex line, supporting Stellantis multi-energy strategy. 250,000. That's like $250,000.
Yeah, most of the stuff I've heard people that own them, and like comments that I've seen and observations made, they're not that impressed with them. Like,
Well, it's funny, but we've got like if you're on our roundtable tomorrow, you'll probably get a chance to talk to Travis. Travis doesn't have it anymore, but he had a 4xe. He got it new, and he loved it, and it actually saved him fuel mileage, even though it only has like a 23 or 30 mile range on the batteries. It made a difference for him. He was getting like
only 30-mile range. Like, what are you going to do with that?
Well, he said it was getting him upwards of 500 miles to a tank of fuel. And I think it's amazing if you can go over 180 in a tank.
I think I get about 260, but my skid plate's all smashed. My skid plate's all smashed up, so my tank doesn't hold its full amount. It's like 2 or 3 gallons shy of what it should hold.
Yeah, I think the Gladiator gets about 250, 260. It's 18-gallon tank. The XJ, God, what is it? A little over 200, 215, maybe, in it. So
again, with the tailwind going downhill.
Oh yeah, with a big fan attached to the back. So I'm making fun of this. I mean, I have heard a lot of good things about the 4xe, and I think it is engineered very nice. I do not like the idea of having multiple redundant power plants. I think it's a bad idea, and I think it makes the vehicle overly complex, and it is a stopgap measure.
The extra complexity of it's what kills it for me.
Yeah,
so.
And there's a lot more weight associated with it. And the other problem I have with it is, why do you put a 2.0 in there? Put in a 3.6. Give it some good horsepower, and it's in all the rest of the Jeeps. I mean, I'm sure there's a technical reason for it, but and you want to add on the battery stuff to it, that's fine. But put it with a 3.6 and make sure that the thing will run perfectly fine when the battery system is dead. because I think that's going to happen a lot.
That's huge. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Make it.
huge.
And I'm not saying it won't, because I don't know. But make sure that they'll run separate, and then that way, when the batteries do go dead, you can continue driving that 3.6 around and just carrying the weight of the dead batteries. It's like carrying Aunt Edna on top of the station wagon.
Did you see how Chevy did it for the new ZR1 Corvettes?
No.
So the ZRE or ZRX1, they've got a different name for it, but they added a supplemental hybrid style front wheel drive option to the new ZR1s that adds like hundreds of horsepower. Like it's crazy.
Oh,
And
electric is the way to go for the future.
It turns it into an all-wheel drive when you engage the thing. So, but that's like serious high performance stuff. It's I don't know how that would help you, like if you were actually trying to track the car, which would be comparable to what we're doing with Jeeps when we go off-road. I guess if it were a grocer getter runabout type setup, the 4xe would probably be less concerning for me. But for wheeling purposes, I that's a hard pass. I wouldn't do it. Just me though. I'm not.
Yeah, no. Let me throw this at you. Let me throw this at you, and you know about this stuff. This is the way I look at it. If they had a power plant, it doesn't have to be a battery, it doesn't have to be a storage device. It could be a fusion generator for all I care. Just it creates a massive amount of electricity. And if you could get 1,000 miles out of it, or if it's like an aircraft carrier and you got to refuel it every 5 years, wonderful. Now you got lots of electricity, lots of power available to you. Now you put a electric motor on each wheel.
Yeah, that's what they do with the Teslas.
So if you want a locker, you just have to synchronize the motors for all 4 tires. Yep. And then when you don't want a locker, that one will spin independent of the other one. But you can still get power to it, or it can just be rear wheel or just front wheel. And the amount of instant torque that you get out of that, you have to tone it down because you're going to be starting to twist components. I know that they twist titanium drive shafts with electric motors now. So, I mean, I could see a situation where you would literally have to sign a waiver. So in case you broke your neck or tore an aorta during acceleration.
Accelerating, yeah.
Because you have this instant power and instant torque and it's so much more efficient than internal combustion engine. And internal combustion engines will never be as efficient as an electric engine. Electric is the future. It just needs a sound generator. It just needs a sound generator because the electric is never going to sound as good.
Sticking the little speakers under the ass into the Jeep so it sounds like exhaust when you're going. Yeah. They've already got that shit.
But the torque, the off-road, all that stuff is going to be so much better with the electric. And it'll be very, very touchy too. You got to turn it down for off-roading because you don't want to launch that thing in the air.
I'm too old school, man. I enjoy the idea of the internal combustion engine. I like the ability to, tweak it, play with it, customize it. It's not cookie cutter. And if you start doing the electric, which I'm sure there's guys out there for some of these, like the Tesla Plaids and some of the other high-end hyper, fully electric cars, and they're racing them, they've got ways of doing things. But for your average consumer, that's not really going to be the, most accessible of stuff, I wouldn't think. So I know I saw several years ago, I think, and this goes back because it was on one of the forums, there was a guy that built a rock crawling buggy, and he was West Coast out there somewhere in the desert. And this thing had hydraulic cylinders to raise and lower, basically booms that he had his wheels and tires attached to, and he had hydraulic motors.
He stayed level. He stayed level, and the wheels would go.
Do this. Plus, he could telescope them in and out, and
really?
Front and rear. He could do this. Neat. Yeah, I think he had like 38-inch TSLs or something on it. And
I think they took him out behind a rock in Moab and shot him.
That thing was so crazy. It was like and it was all home built, and the way he put it all together, it was so wild.
He had to go slow too because he was manually articulating the rig.
Very, very slow. It's not something you're getting anywhere in a hurry, but I don't know whatever happened.
It was cool.
A lot of hydraulic hoses, a lot of hydraulic fluid, a lot of articulating points. So again, pretty complicated and over-engineered, but cool all at the same time.
So I have a $1 million Jeep Talk Show idea. So these situations where people will be climbing up a steep incline and then they'll flip over, or sometimes they'll get too off camber and it'll roll. I
Yep.
want I
Good
want
time.
reaction jets. I want reaction jets like they have on spaceships. So so that
And
whenever you
just
start getting you get
think
too
of
far,
the nanny controls. Yeah. Think of the nanny controls we'd have to keep some idiot from pulling the lever or pushing the button while you're upright and it blows you over.
oh, this is all handled automatically. You get past a certain percentage, and the reaction jets get you back in the line.
Yeah, that wouldn't be complicated at all or expensive.
No, neither one, but it'd be cool. All right, so anyway, they got 250,000 of these 4xEs, and I think the 4xEs have done very well for Jeep, and it's one of the few Jeeps that have done well financially for Jeep. So I say keep making them, and you people keep buying them. I get the feeling, though, the more you dig into the mechanics and the design behind it, you may think the way we think, that it's just like overly complex. Now, if you're keeping your Jeep for 2 years, 4 years, whatever, who cares? Get it, drive it around. It's not something that you're going to get and keep. I keep my Jeep for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got an XJ that I bought brand new. It's a 1998 one owner XJ. So I don't plan on getting rid of this Gladiator
those
time
are
soon.
left.
Oh, I know.
One owner XJs.
Oh,
That's a
no,
rare rig right there.
It is. I'll tell people one owner, and they'll say, "Oh, mine's a one owner," because I got mine for my grandma, and I tell them that's not a one owner. Grandma was owner number one. You were owner number two. Oh, but it's in the family. No, bullshit.
Yep.
It's not a one owner Jeep.
Too. I bought mine brand new off the lot in 2017. Still got it. So
yeah, there you go. All right, so we always have to talk about recalls. Why do we have to talk about recalls? Because you can't just have good news. Yes, recalls and issues. Recent recalls include over 7,000 Grand Cherokees for like this inaccurate speedometers or speedometers. 206,000 Grand Cherokees and Dodge Durango models for ABS brake issues, and 89,372 Grand Cherokee models for steering control problems due to a damaged bolt. Steering control. You know what? I don't know this for sure, but I think the steering control is the Jeep steering itself. Like whenever you're changing lanes and you didn't signal and it tries to hold you in that lane that you were in. I think I bet you that's the steering control it's talking about. Nanny controls.
Yeah. Okay. Lane assist and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm predicting that's what it is. Could be wrong, but I don't think so. I think that's what they're talking about. So no, I think it's good that they have these recalls and they fix things. And I can understand inaccurate speedometers would be a little irritating, but call up Google Maps. It'll tell you what your speed is. Yeah. I wonder how far off it is.
The speedometer one's got to be programming. That's going to be it's probably a line of code that got screwed up and loaded into all the ECMs or something, or somebody
put in the wrong ratio. Yeah. Somebody put in the wrong ratio or something. Yeah. And the sad thing is, and I understand why they don't do this, but and I hate to bring up Tesla again, but Tesla does over-the-air updates, which obviously could be problematic. But in a situation like this, they could have a recall, which basically meant make sure you don't drive your Gladiator Grand Cherokee between this time and this time while we do an update. I mean, they could fix that speedometer thing. I would suspect with all the computer stuff they have. But then
if it was a program, they should be able to. You'd think so. I mean, well, the entertainment system in the wife's Jeep, she's got a 2024 that's got that fancy big screen, with all the nav and everything. It updates on its own. It's a real thing. They do it.
So I think the issue is the modules, because Third Aftermarket makes a lot of the modules for the Jeeps, and they can't communicate with all those modules. They're not designed to be able to update those separate modules. At least that's what I've read. So I think that's the reason why they can't do the whole thing. The nice thing about Tesla is they built the whole thing. So they make sure
proprietary.
Yeah, that they make sure they can talk to all of it, which I just think it's a better. Actually, I don't really care for Apple, but Tesla's kind of doing like what Apple does. They build all their stuff, and that way they can make sure that it works the way it's supposed to, not out of spec by somebody or close to being out of spec by some third-party vendor.
I'm glad that Tesla cars and trucks didn't have the same learning curve for figuring out problems like they have with the Starship program. Did you see that most recent explosion?
Yeah, but you understand that's the whole design for Starship is rapid prototyping. They do that on purpose. They expect it to blow
but
up.
it's like well, yeah. I remember hearing that and that they said that, but damn, that's a lot of money, to just literally be
It is
burning
chump
up.
change.
Okay, if it's
Tesla.
chump change to you, Daddy Warbucks.
No. It's chump change to Elon. So you weren't alive during the Apollo stuff. And I didn't pay that close attention to it, but the Apollo missions, I don't remember. I think they had not a Saturn V, but the Saturn I or something like that. They had a problem with unmanned. The Saturn V never had an issue, but they spent 10 years building and testing before they launched a manned person in there. What Starship, SpaceX and Starship has done is amazing compared to government.
Oh no, I'm not. Yeah, no, it wasn't meant as a dig. It's just it's the money and the effort, because even though I know they can afford to do it, it still has to be, and just an insane, gut wrenching feeling to watch your baby explode on the launch pad.
It would make me cry.
I'd cry. I'd be like, fuck, how many hundreds of millions of dollars was that?
Well, I think it was $2 million in fuel. And actually that one wasn't fully fueled, but you know what it was? They have these big tanks in there, carbon fiber tanks, that hold gas. We were talking about the reaction control stuff. And those tanks have the pressure. They're very high pressured gas, and they may be liquid that turns into gas. And they use that to reaction controls to move the Starship around in orbit. So one of those tanks let loose and caused the entire thing. So it wasn't even the Starship. It was the reaction control tank that taken out the rest of the Starship, and it never happens. So, but it's going to happen occasionally.
Those Raptor engines, they're kerosene based rocket fuel. If I remember what I saw,
methane and oxygen.
Is it methane? Okay, I thought it was kerosene.
They picked methane and oxygen, so because they can get oxygen from Mars, and methane is very prevalent. So they went with a fuel that they would be able to generate on Mars.
That's why they're rocket scientists. Yeah. See, I wouldn't have thought about that.
So I love the space stuff. I've been following a lot of it. I don't know as much as what I'd like to, but
I just kind of figured if you went to Mars, you assume you're not coming back anytime soon. If you go all the way out there, you're just kind of, well, here I am.
So I'm going to go down this rabbit hole just because I'm very interested in the subject. So the first beings that are going to go to Mars are the Optimus robots. Those robots that Tesla is building, and they're going to load up Starship with robots, and they're going to tell them what to do, and they'll be able to communicate with them talk one way. I think is 20 minutes, depending on what the orbit within Mars is.
Are these the ones that I see in the videos that are suspended from engine hoists that start going all ape shit when nobody's near them?
No, these things are These things are much further along than that. They walk around. They're doing work currently. It's the same AI that is self-driving the Tesla vehicles, except it's different for the robot. I mean, it's the same basic technology. It's just a lot cheaper. So there will be. They're looking at these things being $10,000, and I predict that you'll have one in your house if you go back and watch iRobot. And how the robot was helping the grandma cook. Yeah,
I don't want that in my house. No, thank you.
Within a few years, I'm not talking about 20. Within a few years.
No,
and I suspect,
bro. I was late to the smartphone game. I don't want no fucking robot in my house doing chores for me.
I'm not going to go there. There's going to be Jeep will do these kits that you can do to put the Jurassic Park stickers and stuff on. I suspect that Tesla's going to come out with a C-3PO modification. So you can take your Optimus robot and configure it as a C-3PO. So you can have C-3PO walking around your house, being a smart ass. I personally want a TARS from Interstellar, because I want a smart ass.
TARS would be the one. Yeah, TARS would probably be the one that I'd be okay with, because we could talk shit to each other.
Yes.
And not be bored. But beyond that, I'm like, I don't. It's like this is how Judgment Day happens. If you want Skynet to take over the fucking world, this is how we do it.
So all Tesla has to do is develop a lightsaber, and then if we have lightsabers, we'll be able to battle the droids.
Fucking lightsaber. Yeah. And then see, point counterpoint, I think about the Rick and Morty episode where he gives one to Morty and he drops the thing inverted and it just goes to the center of the planet and they're chasing it. It's like, that's what would happen.
It's like the China syndrome. Yeah. It needs a dead man switch on it.
And so we've got AI enabled robots with fucking lightsabers washing dishes, and sweeping.
So we don't have Larry here to tell us it's a Jeep show, fellas. Talk about Jeeps. So I want to rein us back in on all my own. And so we had a couple of topics that you were going to talk about tonight. So this is something that we've talked about before. We've never talked about it with you. What should I pack for the trail?
Everything you're going to need, no matter what. No, that one's an important one in a lot of different ways. There's always basics that you should have no matter where you're going or how long you plan on being there. And those basics include, but are not limited to, any tools that you might require for a field repair on your rig and the appropriate spare parts to go with, a decent first aid kit, emergency type supplies in the form of water and snacks, some kind of food or something non-perishable. And this is bare minimum stuff. If you're going to be a good clip away from civilization and you know that your GRMS and your cell phone are going to be useless, then some kind of satellite phone or otherwise, communicating device, et cetera, et cetera. So those are all like the basics. Now, how much of each one of those things, if I know I'm going to spend a week, away from the state, like going out of state and really throttling on the rig, I'm probably going to take a wider selection of stuff with me. I don't have to carry it all on the trail if I'm camping nearby or get an Airbnb or whatever the case may be. I can ditch some of it, provided I can find somebody that's nice enough to take me back to the room to get my shit. But beyond that, you have to know your rig. What are the potential failure points? Because it's going to be different. I've seen guys that pack everything from full-size steering gear boxes to alternators to spare batteries, like they go all out. And then like a lot of guys normally would do spare U-joints, maybe a axle shaft or something like that if you're breakage prone and you know it. Things of that nature, but basic fluids, couple of quarts of each. If you have hydraulic assist, it's a good idea to have the appropriate extra fluid for that in case you do have to replace a line. Again, goes with that. If you have hydraulic assist, you should probably have a couple of spare fittings and at least one spare pressure hose, serpentine belts, stuff like that. So
let me ask you a quick question about the hydraulic hose, popping a hydraulic hose or popping a leak. I guess popping one off is probably more prevalent than popping a leak. I guess it just depends on if you rub up against something. Anyway, that silicone tape that adheres to itself, I know it works on radiator hoses. It will literally hold the pressure of radiator. Do you know what the silicone tape is? And you think it would work on a hydraulic hose?
No, absolutely not. You're talking about the difference between your average cooling system. It might run anywhere from 15 to 25 PSI internal pressure.
Oh, that's true. Because that's
some
the cap
of them are a little
pressure.
bit higher.
Right.
Yeah, the cap's going to go, and it should, if everything's working as it should, long before a hose will rupture if the hose is intact. Now, you can probably get away with that stuff. Hydraulic systems, much higher pressure.
But there's nothing you can wrap that with, is there?
No. Well, there's probably, and I don't know that I've ever seen it, but I'd have to guess, somebody's probably got like a field serviceable type splice kit or something.
Probably as a hose with clamps and stuff that you'd have to
depending upon what you've got, because some of and I know we talked about like PSC before, and even some of the other guys, you've got the crimped end style hoses where the ends are crimped onto the hose and they're not serviceable. And then you've got the field repair option from PSC where they've got special fittings that just basic hand tools where you can swap the ends on your braided steel pressure hose and do field repairs. So those things, you're talking hundreds of PSI, and that is not something you're going to stop with a piece of tape or duct tape or any of that. It's unfortunate.
No JB weld.
Most of the ones I've seen damaged, it's abrasion. It's the two main causes. You smack into something with the front end and get the ram and damage one of the fittings or hoses that way, or literally just because of restrictions on packaging where you've got hoses routed. Sometimes it's almost impossible to keep them from, depending upon how you do it. Sometimes they rub. Now they do have sheaths and isolators that you can use to prevent that. So if you go into it knowing that it's a possibility, do it. But
I wouldn't
sometimes
think
you
that
don't
that
even
would
realize
take up
it's
much
happening.
room. It wouldn't be that much that big of an expense to have the hose, especially if you get the ones with serviceable fittings.
And again, like we talked about with the hydro assist, if for some reason you damage the hose and can't fix it, or you damage the ram to the point it can't be used, you can take the pressure lines off of your steering box, put caps on those two ports.
I didn't think about that, of course.
Disconnect the ram from your steering and just have full mechanical steering again. You just pull that stuff off, which I've done that before. I smacked into a boulder big time right after I did my 1-ton swap several years ago. Drove right into it. And it was kind of in a staging parking area. Those of you familiar with Finley's Stairs over at Wolf Caves know exactly which rock I'm talking about. And yeah, my dumb ass rolled into it with a full head of steam heading towards the rocks to go play.
Oh.
I forgot that I parked in front of it. I was first one there, waiting for the group to show up. Everybody shows up. We pile in. This is the way we're going. We're going right up here. Follow me. And 3 feet in front of me is this, ottoman-sized sofa, and I drove right into it. DOM tie rod and hydraulic steering assist.
Did you get a smattering of applause by everybody around you?
No, everybody looked at me like, "What the fuck are you doing?" So before I got on the first trail at the start of that weekend, I destroyed my hydraulic assist and had to wheel the rest of the weekend with just manual steering, unassisted. So yeah. Pay attention to your surroundings, kids. Don't get too excited.
Walk around before you go.
You also want to make sure that you include basic recovery stuff. Some kind of tree saver. If you have, winch, obviously. If you don't have a winch on your rig and you're off-roading, you're doing it wrong. Don't depend on other people for a winch. Get your own damn winch. And the rule that we like to go by in the industry, most of us, is you want a winch that is rated for a pull capacity that is at least 1.5 times the curb weight of your vehicle. So popular options for a 2-door Jeep, it'd be like a 9,500 pound capable winch, even a 10,000 pound. I have a 15,000 pound capable. No, I'm sorry. I've got a 12K on there now, but I upgraded to a higher strength synthetic rope. It's a Bubba rope. And so the one I've got on there now are stronger than the factory synthetic rope that came on it. So actually my rope is stronger than my winch. So I don't ever have to worry about literally breaking my winch cable, because the winch will give up before the cable does. So,
well, you can still shock the cable and snap it though. Having that headroom is better.
It wrong, recovery points, tree savers. If there's no boulders or other vehicles to attach your winch cable to, D-rings. If you're a D-ring fan, soft shackles are another great option, and the soft shackles are made out of the same material most of the time as our synthetic winch lines. It's a larger size. A good tow rope, even if it's a recovery strap like the big flat ones that are kinetic, or just a standard tow rope. You never know, they come in handy, and it doesn't take up a lot of room. So those kind of things are very important, because and these are things you have to check. If you're one of these people that doesn't use your winch very often, it needs to be checked and serviced and maintained and all that kind of stuff periodically, like everything else we do.
Sometimes you just need to mess with it so you'll remember how it works when you need it.
Yeah. I've seen people burn them up. They put them on, use it once, and then forget about it. And then all of a sudden they want to rescue somebody or have to rescue themselves, and it doesn't function properly or goes kaput because, bad connection, or they didn't maintain the synthetic winch lines. Unlike steel cable, synthetic winch lines, most of them are susceptible to UV damage. So it's important not to leave them baking in the sun all the time. Now, I'm sure there's some out there that have built-in UV protection to some level, but
you got to get the lotion. You get the 500 SPF.
All the zinc. But yeah, steel cables. There's still diehard guys out there that swear up and down by steel cables on winches. I'm not one of them. I think
it's the only way to go.
If
you're talking about a minuscule amount of weight compared to armor that you put on your Jeep.
I don't have any armor in my Jeep, dude. Well,
you need armor before you start running into sofa-sized rocks.
But yeah, whichever you have, if it's steel cable, make sure that you don't have any frays or kinks, knots, stuff. Strands.
Always use gloves.
Use gloves. Keep that thing lubricated. Don't run it dry all the damn time. And there's some guys that swear up and down. You do not
have to rub the lotion on it, or worry about pointy sticks or sharp rocks or the sun.
Yeah. So, but yeah, making sure you've got That's a great point. Understanding how all of this stuff works. How many? I mean, you and I are of the same generation.
That's
that we
critical.
grew up with the Widowmakers. High lift jacks. If you do not know how to use a high lift jack properly, the thing can kill you. It literally can
Sure.
maim you. So your winch is a similarly dangerous
Knock
piece
your
of
ass
equipment.
out when that handle comes up.
I've done it. I learned the hard
Everybody
way. That
has,
kickback. Yeah. And it's a lesson you don't forget. It will absolutely hurt you. But yeah, making sure all your stuff's in tip-top shape. You don't want to go out there with half-ass recovery gear. You don't want to go out there with one bottle of water and a granola bar. I'm just going to be the afternoon.
Yeah, if you go out there with one bottle of water, your radiator hose is going to pop, and you're going to be a place where you do not have enough water to put in that radiator, and you're going to be limping back to where you can get water. So take enough water. Find out how much you need to put into your radiator. So when you pop a hose, you can at least get enough in
What's
there.
What's your fluid capacity on that system in an emergency?
Exactly.
Yep. Good information.
And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to have too much water. So if it doesn't pop a hose, now you have the water for yourself.
Well, we've all seen stories and reports from like what is effectively a simple wheeling trip, like Black Bear. Black Bear is scenic and beautiful, and it's only dangerous if you drive off of the road. If you do that, well, good luck. But it's also one of those.
Who's the guy? I can't remember his name. I can't remember the guy's name. Bleeping Jeep. I'm forgetting his name. But he had Matt. Yes, he had a YouTube that he did, and they had a flash rainstorm with sleet.
Yep.
And I think there was some hail. And that's where he was, Black Bear Pass, and they even had landslides that they got stuck in, so you never know. And they were out there with a bunch of people, but they were stuck. They couldn't get off the mountain to get down into whatever town that is.
The guys, off-road addiction out of Oklahoma. I think they were at Green Acres a 3 weeks ago. When we had, I guess it's been a little bit longer now, with all the big back-to-back rain that we had in Texas and Oklahoma and stuff there for a little bit, they got caught out on some of the hardest trails you could ever hope to be on in a massive downpour that went on and on and on. It was winch fest from then on out. They could not get, and these are well-built rigs, like very well equipped with experienced drivers, and the trail conditions and weather conditions forced everybody in the group to spend the rest of the day winching themselves out of the trail system to get back to camp.
And that's a good reminder. And that's a good reminder about the realities of going off road, because it's not always going to be butterflies and unicorns. Sometimes it's going to be work.
Abso-freaking-lutely. So the more prepared you can be for those eventualities, and there is such a thing as going overboard. I mean, you can overdo it for a short trip. And some people do that anyway. They do it all the time. Like no matter where they're going, they always have this long list of stuff they're going to, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's, it's kind of like your sidearm. Better to have it, not need it.
But it's just the weight. I mean, taking 1,000 rounds with you is probably overkill. Couple hundred, sure.
QT to get a soda, yes, but I might take 2 magazines instead of 1.
Yeah. You don't want to be in a situation where you have to call a timeout because you have to go back home and get more ammo.
Guys, don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
I'm sorry, I'm out of ammo. Just give me 15 minutes. I'll be right back.
Well, and again, with trail etiquette, and I know this is gonna hurt some feelings when I say this, but for most people, that are like avid hardcore wheeling, like they're out all the time, they're doing big stuff, they're going places. There's nothing more irritating than having the new guy to the group show up ill prepared and then mooching off everybody the rest of the weekend. Oh, hey, do you have a spare U-joint? Oh, hey, do you have this wrench? Oh, hey, do you have this fluid? Oh, hey, do you have some grease? Oh, hey, do you have some electrical tape? It's like, you knew you were coming out here to do this, right? You knew where you were coming to and what you were going to be doing. Why wouldn't you prepare? Some people just don't think of it in those terms. They assume incorrectly that everyone else there will help them if needed. And a lot of times that is true. Folks are going to be willing to help you 99% of the time, as long as you're not being like an idiot about what you're doing on purpose. And, so pissing people off. But it's still kind of just like mutual respect and being self-reliant. Don't count on others. And it's, the old adage, you don't go wheeling alone. You really shouldn't. But people do it.
But Greg,
I'm guilty of it.
I didn't think I was going to break anything. I didn't think I needed any parts.
No, you're just going rock crawling. What could happen?
Exactly.
You're gonna scratch your slider. You're gonna maybe scuff the sidewall.
Oh yeah, I need some touch-up paint.
So, just be honest with yourself about expectations of what you're trying to accomplish, who you've got, plan for who you've got with you. If you've got the wife and kids with you, obviously snacks, drinks, and first aid stuff is going to be a little different than if it's you and your son or
Right.
you and the boys. I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of detail there, but parents and women understand what I'm talking about. So,
Oh, you may need some toilet paper, and take toilet paper with you. Don't borrow toilet paper for somebody else. Toilet paper is going to be currency when the zombie apocalypse happens. Everybody's going to be trading bullets for.
That's what we thought with COVID.
Toilet paper.
And toilet paper manufacturers were like, "This is awesome." People are like, "I just want to shit."
So I'm sure we can spend a lot of time on recovery gear, water first aid. I think we've covered it pretty well. Let's talk about. I think this is important. Let's talk about basic recovery pointers. Difference between a tow point and a recovery point. I thought this was good. I didn't even think about this, but you suggested this.
Very, very important. If you have a TJ or an LJ or a JK or a JL or a JT, you have factory bumpers with factory installed points on the front end that are often misused or mislabeled as recovery points. Those cast factory hooks, no matter which version you have from the factory, are tow points. And what that boils down to, the difference is a tow point is something we use for flat towing a vehicle across pretty much level ground. You ran out of gas, you broke down, it won't start, something like that, where you can put it in neutral, hook a strap to it, and drag it to safety with no obstruction. A recovery point is something that is integral to the chassis of the vehicle that we can attach a winch to, we can attach a jerk strap to it, we can attach a chain to it if we want to. And I don't mean wrapping it around the axle housing. I mean like a dedicated point of attachment for either a soft shackle or a D-ring that we can yank on with gusto or winch on and put the full weight of the vehicle at a weird angle or uphill or downhill or upside down.
Or dangling from a tree.
Right. That's the difference between a recovery point versus a tow point. And all too often people get seriously injured using tow points as recovery points. That's a very bad thing to do.
So let me make sure I understand this. The hook, which I never cared for the hook, that's on the front bumper of a
I'm being
TJ
specific. Now it's the factory hooks. The ones on the TJs were those real sharp jobs that had the little metal deal as like a keeper, and they pointed back towards the radiator grill, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I call them hooks. And I think the Gladiator had the same thing for I changed bumpers. Those things aren't tied to the frame. They won't. No. They're tow points. They're not recovery points.
Well, those style are just bolted through the top of the bumper. The newer versions that are mounted this way, where the hooks come up and do like that off the front of the bumper, like it's still pointing back towards the grill, those literally have the studs in them that hold the bumper onto the chassis. And it's just a cast steel is all it is. It's not meant or designed to take all that force and pressure from a hard yank or a winch.
Interesting. I did not know this.
People will still use them that way, and it's scary to watch it happen.
And they get away with it on occasion.
And they get away with it a couple times, and they think, oh, it's okay. I use that, like people that double back their winch. If you're using a snatch block to double your pulling capacity, I've seen it done that way too. And that is not at all how those are supposed to be used. Now,
so what I'm hearing here is the individual can use this to convince the spouse that they need a new bumper with proper recovery points.
Yes.
I like this.
And there are some really good ones out there. Moto-Built's got some badass ones. Genrite's got some badass ones. And they have the recovery points built into it. And it's all very, very well constructed and designed to take that kind of stress. So you're basically going to, if you're yanking on it hard enough to hurt anything on one of those kind of aftermarket bumpers, and I mean one of the higher level ones, not the cheap Chinese stuff that you get off of eBay or Amazon, quality components. Those types of bumpers, like from Genrite or Motor-Built or somebody else, properly installed, put together, are actually stronger than the factory frame of a late model Jeep. You'll rip the frame apart before you break one of those bumpers if you're doing it right. So not that anybody would purposely try that. I don't know, maybe Whistle and Diesel, but I think he's all on his killdozer thing right now anyway. I think he'd get bored tearing up Jeeps. It's not cool enough. But yes, definitely important to understand the difference and when to use them and what for. And that just comes back to educating yourself. Don't rely on the internet to tell you that. Read your owner's manual. It tells you in the owner's manual.
I was just getting ready to say, I have a sneaking suspicion that this is not going to go my way, that I'm actually going to have to read the owner's manual. And I'm just against reading. I think reading instructions is the sign of weakness. You need to figure this shit out yourself.
It into Google, yeah.
Well, you can't tell what you're going to get from Google, though. If it's printed from Jeep, you got a 99% chance that it's good information.
Well, these days, I don't know if you've been using Google lately, but since they've started using the AI responses, is what pops
AI
up
lies.
Dude, I just to shits and giggles because I've seen other people doing it, like in the gear world and stuff, where you type in what is the pinion preload for an Advantech M300 Dana Spicer axle. And it'll say, well, pinion bearing preload should normally be, X amount of inch pounds for this application and 6 to 8 inch pounds for used bearing and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, that's not at all the answer. Not even close. That's a generic, hey, I read this somewhere or heard somebody saying it at the barbershop. I hate fucking AI. I really do. And did you see the one where the guy put the picture up of a ring gear that's completely painted in compound? It does not have a pattern on it. It's just the whole ring gear is just covered compound. And it asked AI, how's my pattern look? And AI was like, oh, it looks great. If your backlash is in spec, you should just run it. There was no pattern there. It's just all paint. AI doesn't know the damn difference, apparently. So
nice contrast you got going there. You should put that in the artistic show. All righty. So basic recovery points, and so what you're saying is that the factory tow points that's on the Jeep you should not use for recovery, and that would be the rear hook. The rear single hook, like on the JKs and the JLs?
Those are a little bit stouter than the front one just because of how they're designed and how they attach, but I have seen the frames let go from people yanking on those hooks. Because the hook and the three big-ass they're metric, but a 15/16 socket fits them, whatever metric size that is.
Right.
I've seen people tear up their chassis on JKs yanking on those hooks. And I bent the chassis under my Jeep by dropping off of a rock ledge that hook caught on and suspended the whole rear of the Jeep momentarily. It actually twisted that side, my box into that frame, it tweaked it. So no, I would not. If it's an absolute have to, if you have nothing else and you're willing to take the chance, if it's that kind of emergency situation, I mean, I guess go for it. It's you're rolling the dice, but I do not recommend it.
What about the factory steel bumper? Is that any better, or is they use the same thing?
Those things they're wimpy. There's not that much to them. The only thing that I've seen on some of the aftermarket bumpers and some of the aftermarket winch plates that work in tandem with a factory bumper, a lot of those will have reinforcements built into them that sit right behind those hooks. And so if you imagine, and I've got one of those winch plates on my Jeep. So if you look at it from the side, like you're looking across the side from the wheel and tire, there's the factory hook that's like this, and then the winch plate that bolts directly to the chassis with a whole bunch of hardware on top has these 1-inch diameter dowels basically that poke up out of it and fill the gap behind the hook. So when you tie to it, you're tying to that. You're not using the hook by itself. So some of them are like that, and that's key because you're putting the load where it needs to go to be dispersed to the chassis, and not putting everything just on that one little bitty cast hook. So that's a cool feature if you find one on that way. Yeah.
So I'll just add the Motobuilt stuff is really, really nice. When I got the Gladiator, I did not have a modern Jeep, so I didn't know where to go. I looked around a lot. And then I looked at Motobuilt, and really the main reason I went with Motobuilt was their stubby bumper let the winch sit really low and keep it out of the airflow of the radiator, which running hot in the XJ was always an issue. I wasn't going to have that problem in the Gladiator, but I didn't want to take any chance at it. So I got that Motobuilt bumper. I got it, had a look at it. I'm not a welder, but everything looked really, really sharp. Very, very well put together. Beautiful bumper. Installed that, and then it was easy. I got the same series. I think it's a Crusher, Rock Crusher. I think is the series bumper for the rear, and I got that one for the Gladiator because it wraps around, and you need to be able to protect that that little bit of the bed behind the wheels. And I actually got
the overhang on those, the departure angles suffer a little bit because of the bed design. So that is a helpful feature to have built made into the structure.
And I got the brackets that like they do for the Rubicon Gladiators. I got the brackets to attach to that. So now ain't nothing hitting that bed. It's going to hit the brackets, the heavy duty brackets, or that bumper. Whenever and of course you have a bad departure angle on a Gladiator, so you have to have protection. Love those bumpers.
Like if they had introduced a 2-door short bed version, would have sold like hotcakes. Like you remember that when AEV was doing the Brutes with the TJs and LJs. Oh yeah. If FCA had done that with the Gladiator as an option for when they introduced it, oh my God, can you imagine?
Well, and I've gone down this same path with our roundtable crew, and the roundtable, and they've convinced me. How many 2-door Wranglers are sold compared to the 4-door Wranglers? Yeah, the 4-door Wranglers are outselling because everybody wants a family vehicle.
True.
Is your JK a JK or a JKU?
It's JKU. The first late model one I had was a 14 2-door. It was that Dune metallic color, and it was a Sahara too. But it just simply did not. Even with just me, this is back before I was remarried, and it was just me and the 2 teenagers. When we wanted to road trip, we wanted to go somewhere. We simply did not have enough room for all our crap in the back.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that's the reason why. That's why you're never going to see a 2-door Gladiator. I think that my first
cool though.
Yes, no, I agree with you. My first 4-wheel drive vehicle was an '83 square body Chevrolet truck, and of course it was a 2-door. They didn't have any of that stuff back in '83 as far as I remember, and it was so neat. I put 37s on it, a 4-inch lift, and it was just so much fun to drive around in. I thought I was in hog heaven until I got a Jeep. Then when I got a Jeep, I realized now I have a vehicle that I can go anywhere in. I don't need something that's wide and a wide area to be able to drive this truck through. I'd still like to have that truck. Great for the high water in Houston, and great for just driving around. Yeah. So, but I loved it. It was absolutely wonderful. But yeah, it was. It's a different thing.
Well, have you seen the new Moto-Built bobtail beds?
Yes, I have.
Freaking awesome.
Yeah,
I love
really
that. I'm not a huge fan of the Gladiators simply based on aesthetics.
Now, if that bed,
for no other reason, but yeah, that short bed, utility style bed, that's
if
cool
that short bed was on a 2-door Gladiator, now you're talking.
Even better.
Yeah, it looks kind of goofy with the 4-door, but that's fine. You can get used to it. No, it is really cool. I got to see one of those. Moto-Built had a deal, 2024 EJS. They went over to grandpa's and grandma's place and had a thing where you could go meet and talk to them and see their stuff. And so I got to see the Gladiator with that short bed on there at that event. Spoke with Dan and Bender while I was there as well. And
Bender's good people. I like Bender. Yeah, he's cool.
He's funny. Yeah. So it was really funny. And I've mentioned this before. Whenever I posted a picture of those pieces of those braces that you get to put on the back bumper that go to the frame of the Gladiator to help protect the area. And nobody's ever going to see those things again. I got them along with the bumper, and I was just looking at them, and just absolutely gorgeous the way they're welded, the way they're put together. I posted it up on Instagram. Bender's been on the show several times, so we're already following him, and vice versa, Jeep Talk Show on Instagram. And I put the picture up. I went, these things are actually gorgeous. And Bender responded, you're welcome. Because he had welded them.
His best element is
and I didn't even know. I didn't even know he was with Moto-Built until then. So, but it was really cool. It's just artistic. It's like they're building furniture over there. Just beautiful stuff. I'm very
their whole R&D team, everything that they're cranking out. I've just price point versus quality. And I know I'm going to hurt some Gen Right fanboys' feelings, but it's hard to beat Moto-Built in that respect. Their stuff's burly. It's utilitarian, but it's still stylish.
Yeah, Gen Right almost had me. I just didn't want aluminum. I'm very much with the steel. I don't like the whole idea of the synthetic stuff. I mean, synthetic will be the future, but it's not right now, at least not for me. And the Gen Right bumper is really, really nice. I think the Gen Right bumper, I was looking at the winch would sit up a little higher than the Moto-Built. That's really what did it for me. That's the reason why I went with the Moto-Built. But Gen Right built beautiful stuff. Tony's been on the show several times. and he absolutely fantastic guy. He wants
Oh yeah,
everybody
their
to
stuff's amazing.
he wants him to
There's
understand how things work. It's not just a buy my shit. He wants you to understand how things work, and then you can make the best decision for you. And if it's him buying his stuff, great. But anyway, so yeah, it was very close between Motobuilt and Genrite, and then I got the Motobuilt stuff, and I'm very, very happy with it. The only thing I don't have that I would like to have from Motobuilt are the sliders, and we're going to talk about sliders tomorrow on our roundtable episode.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've got
you
some
need to be there.
opinions about that.
Yes, you do. The Discord server was already a little rowdy about your opinions about that. So this should be a good show.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Hang on just a second. All right, so here's a little segment that we're going to do. We do this from time to time, little known Jeep related facts. Tell me if you've heard about the Jeep in a crate myth, Greg. Have you ever heard that? You ever seen the picture?
Myth. It's not a myth. It was actually a real thing, and that's what makes it so amazing.
So this may be one of those erroneous AI bits of information. Then post World War II ads for Jeeps and crates for $50 persisted into the 1980s, but were largely scam. Only a few hundred surplus Jeeps, likely intended for lend-lease programs, were sold this way in the early 1950s. The idea stemmed from Jeeps being shipped disassembled in wooden crates for quick battlefield assembly, sometimes in under 3 minutes. I can't believe they could put a Jeep together in 3 minutes out of a crate.
Well, you have to understand. And they were basically just putting the wheels and tires on it and folding the windshield up.
But 3 minutes, that's fast.
They weren't, they weren't like building it from the chassis up. It was, they had to take it down just enough to make it fit in the crate they wanted to ship it in, and then pop it open and put it together.
I wonder if the kit came with a sniper rifle, because if you're under fire, you can work faster.
Maybe. I don't know if I were under fire in World War II, I wouldn't want to be standing behind a Jeep. I'd rather be like in a trench or a tank or something, I guess.
So what do you think? Is Jeep in a crate a myth or not? It sounds like it happened, but not widespread.
Right. So yeah, it was a real thing, but it wasn't like you said, it wasn't on the level that people assumed it was. Like the sea monkeys in the back of your comic book magazine. It wasn't that readily available. But I do know that Mahindra has tried. Is it Mahindra?
Yeah.
Or Roxor.
Roxor Mahindra. Mahindra is the main company. I believe.
They tried to capture and emulate some of that vibe and feel with the thing that they came out with. It's in some states not even recognized as a motor vehicle. You have to tag and sticker them as a UTV, which is kind of odd to me, but
it's like a golf cart. Idea. It's tiny.
Yeah. But most folks these days, you'd have to be a diehard aficionado to want to drive around in an MJ. I had a buddy that had one when I was in high school, the old flat fender Willis, and no roof, no doors, 2 little jump seats, nothing in the back, not even a spare. This thing was a flat 4 manual transmission. The only thing they did to upgrade it was convert to a 12-volt battery system and put, radial tires under it. That was it. And this guy drove this thing every day, rain, snow, and shine. And I rode in it with him to lunch a couple times my senior year, and I was like, this is no fun.
No, it's a very rough. Very much a utility vehicle.
Yeah, very much utility vehicle.
God bless him for doing that as a daily driver. That's really cool.
He did, though. I thought I was a badass doing it with mine, and then I think about that kid, and I'm like...
And then you see these people taking it off-road with no roll bar. No
roll bar, just a single hoop. Those are the real hardcore OGs. Those guys do not... It's like zero fucks given.
We die like men.
Right, But, I mean, would you, Tony? Would you go run... steel bender, or would you go out to Moab and try to keep up with those guys in Pritchett Canyon? No roll bar, no harness, no nothing.
I've never been to Pritchett. I've done Metal Masher, which I broke the taillight. Yeah.
I mean,
that Gladiator did a lot of things, because I don't have a lot of wheeling experience. Like I was talking about, my XJ overheats. I've done a lot of building on it. I've put a lot of stuff on it, but I never could get anywhere because I didn't have a trailer to put it on. So just taking a Jeep off road, and especially I didn't think that Gladiator was going to be much off road. It is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. So
a stock Rubicon will do things that most people don't realize it'll do if you know how to drive it.
I
You
believe
really
that,
don't
but
know.
until you've experienced it, because you go, oh yeah, people talk, and then when you go out there and you see what you can
Yep.
do. Since I put the skid system, Motobuilt skid system, on my Gladiator, I've only used it on at Hidden Falls, but I used the hell out of that thing. I was going places that I wouldn't have gone before, and because I'm not worried about me, I'm worried about the Gladiator and hearing the wife, because she says I'm gonna tear it up, I want to break it. Well, I'll fix it if I do. But now with that full skid system on there, I mean, you can still break it, but boy, that confidence that you have,
better protected. That's the confidence, and knowing that you have that protection is invaluable.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I was afraid I had peppered some people with debris when I was going up a particularly difficult for me, not the Gladiator, going up a hill, and people were. I think somebody said on the GMRS, "Give it the beans."
Yeah, a little tire spin.
It was just spinning and going, and I made it up there okay. All right, well, Greg, we're going to go run long. It's so fun talking about all these things. You're a wealth of knowledge, and I
Yes.
appreciate you joining us here on the show week after week.
Did we get our weekly questions submitted from viewers yet? Do we have one? I do.
I don't.
those.
Do you?
No, I don't. I was hoping somebody would have sent in a question.
Nope, I
Damn
haven't seen
it.
anything. I can make one up. Why is the best color for a Jeep red?
Why?
Oh, I can't find the button. Where it's not this one. I can't find it. I'm on the right screen.
Ooh,
Here it is.
Red Jeeps are sexy.
That's why, because red Jeeps are sexy. Yeah, send in a question.
Yeah.
But no, if we get a question, I'll put it in the show notes. So we'll make sure that we say it.
Thank you. Y'all fire away. Ask us whatever you want. I like that. That's probably one of my favorite things when they.
Oh, the interaction
have
is
something
wonderful.
specific. Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
All right. So did the Jeep Talk Show episode get your engine roaring? Show us some love by dropping a 5-star and a question, but a 5-star rating and a blazing review on your go-to podcast platform. It's your way to help us expand our Jeep family. Keep the adventure rolling by hitting follow on social media and joining our newsletter crew for the hottest Jeep updates and unmissable events. I think the next event is a group of Jeep Talk Show people going to the Rubicon. I think that's happening in September, but if you join our Discord server, you can see what's going on with that and when they're going, and make sure. I think it's still happening. Nobody's talked about it in a while. Actually, they need to start talking about it pretty soon, September, like I'm remembering. Got a burning question or a wild idea for our next episode? Fire it over to us at jeeptalkshow.com/contact. Thanks for cruising with us, and get ready for more thrilling journeys ahead. Greg, thanks a lot for being with us.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good night.
Broadcasting since 2010.